What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Vegas 44. We have Jose Aldo going against Rob Font, and this card is very good. We have 3 cards to end the year, and all 3 of them are phenomenal. So looking to finish the year strong from a betting perspective, finish it strong from a pick perspective as well. And we start with this card here, which I think it's a card that is definitely going to deliver. Before we get started, I have a couple announcements to make. I'm going to be doing the contest again. Did not do it the last card because it was a main event that I thought a lot of people really did not care too much about, the Miesha Tate, Caitlin Veira. But this is a main event that I think we all can, have a lot of interest in. So as always, to enter the contest, first, leave a like on the video. Second, subscribe to the channel if you are not already. And then third, comment down how many significant strikes you think that Jose Aldo and Rob Font are going to combine for. $25 to first place. And like I did last time, if you get it on the dot, I'll actually double that to $50. So if there is a tie, first person that comments wins, gets a tiebreaker there. And yeah, I'll probably do 3 to end out the year here. So also, it is about the first of the month. The first is on Wednesday. That is a great time to sign up on the Patreon. Lots of great stuff going on over there. The most popular option being that $10 betting package option with you get all my access to all the early bets. You get access to all the stats, all the numbers, the stat models you see in my videos. Uncle Weezy also provides some great stats as well, and lots more content, the betting article as well. And I'm also working on some new things for the new year. I've started working on a couple things that I think a lot of you guys will like, and then of course my website will be out in January as well. So yeah, lots of great things coming. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to this card. 7 bets already, all 7 of them plus money. Going to keep it kind of lightish this week, and then next week there are a lot of spots that are sticking out. Going to have a lot of big plays. I already have 1 big play, and then looking at my potential next max bet, probably the last max bet of the year next week. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to ending the year strong. So I say we get into it, guys. If you have not yet already, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Getting really close to that 13K mark. Would be cool to hit that by the end of the year. Really do appreciate all you guys watching and subscribing and liking. It really does mean a lot. So first fight of the night, we have Luis Smolka going against Vince Morales. We have Smolka. He is 30 years old, 5'9", with a 68.5-inch reach, 17-7, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Vince Morales, he is 31 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach, 10-5 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So Smolka is going to have a half an inch of reach advantage, and he's also going to have a 2-inch height advantage as well. So as always, we'll take a look at the odds. We see that Luis Smolka opened up -185. He is now -150. And then Vince Morales opened up +160. He is now +130. So I do want to get into some stats on this one. We'll start with the striking stats here. I think the striking is going to be, fairly competitive. Luis Smolka does land 4.44 significant strikes per minute with a 46% accuracy, absorbing 3.74 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.7 significant strike differential and a 53% striking defense. As far as Vince Morales goes, he does land 4.37 significant strikes per minute with a 39% accuracy, absorbing 4.6 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.33 significant strike differential and a 55% striking defense. Yeah, I think the striking is very close and competitive. Maybe I'll slightly favor Vince Morales. He does have some power, but I think where the fight's going to be won and lost is actually on the mat. We see that Luis Smolka does land 1.84 takedowns per 15 minutes. He has a 37% accuracy and a very terrible 31% takedown defense. But Vince Morales is not one to really go for takedowns. He averages 0.2 takedowns per 15 minutes. I think he has maybe 1 in the UFC, 1 or 2, with a 25% accuracy and a 50% takedown defense. So yeah, I mean, Vince Morales, he has a wrestling background. I believe he wrestled in high school, and he does not use that wrestling, which is always very frustrating, but I think he's going to have to use that defensive wrestling here, especially if Luis Smolka is able to get on top of Vince Morales. I think he could be in some serious trouble. Luis Smolka is very dangerous. Smolka has an 89% finish rate, and 42% of those coming by submission, and we have seen Vince Morales submitted before, and we've seen him submitted before twice. I go back to the Domingo Pilarte fight, which was on the Contender Series, where Morales was having a lot of success against Pilarte, who is probably not UFC caliber, but still, he was having success with him in the first round. He dropped him, was really close to finishing him, and then in the second round, Domingo Pilarte gets him down, and he takes his back fairly easy and just submits him like very easy. So I feel like You know, he's fought Song Yadong, took him down twice. Amin Zahabi took him down once. You know, Drake Rodriguez took him down 3 times. I feel like if Smolka's able to get him down here, I feel like there's a very good chance that he's able to get a submission here. Smolka, like I said, very dangerous on the mat. He was able to finish Jose Quinones with that TKO. He also was able to finish Sumidarji with an armbar. You know, Paddy Holohan with a rear naked choke. I mean, he's been able to get finishes in the UFC, and I think he does finish Vince Morales here. So give me Luis Smolka inside the distance. Don't want to really pick around. I think it could be really any round, but I think he does finish Vince Morales by submission. All right, next we have Alex Morono going against Mickey Gall. Should be a fun one. We have Alex Morono, 31 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 20-7, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Mickey Gall, 29 years old, 6'2", with a 74-inch reach, 7-3, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here. We see that Alex Morono is a decent-sized favorite, opening up -270. He's now -210. And then Mickey Gall opening up +230. He's now +180. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a pretty solid matchup for Alex Morono here. Alex Morono is somebody that, you know, he's well-rounded. He's very well-rounded. He's experienced. He's fought good competition. He's beat solid guys. You know, he beat Donald Cerrone in the first round. You know, he's beat guys like Max Griffin, you know, guys like that. So he has some good wins on his record, and he's fought some good guys. Anthony Pettis, Chaos Williams, those are losses, but, you know, decent losses there. Whereas Mickey Gall, you go back and look at him, and you know, I'm not all that impressed with some of the guys he's beat, like a CM Punk, a Mike Jackson, Sage Northcutt, guys like that, George Sullivan, and then losing to, you know, Diego Sanchez, who is way past his prime, you know, losing to, you know, Mike Perry, who I believe he did not train for that fight. I remember his girlfriend was in the corner for that fight. But what I will say about, you know, Mickey Gall, he's looked a lot better in terms of the striking. Like, he went out there and he didn't outstrike Mike Perry from distance, but it was 51-51 strikes in terms of Mike Perry, Gall, and their distance strikes, which was, you know, very impressive to me. And the way Mike Perry was able to beat, you know, Mickey Gall there was, one, he hurt him bad. I believe he dropped him in that fight. And then also he's able to take him down here and there, controlled him for over 5 minutes of that fight. And then we saw in the Diego Sanchez fight, which was back in 2019, Diego Sanchez was able to take him down 4 times and just kind of beat the crap out of him and gassed him out. And then Diego Sanchez ended up finishing Mickey Gall. And I feel like if Alex Morono wants to make this fight look easy, I feel like he needs to get this fight down to the mat. The problem with Alex Morono is he has such a great ground game. I believe he's like a second-degree black belt in BJJ, but he, for some reason, decides not to use it. Rarely ever. I mean, he's starting to use it a little bit more. He was able to take down Anthony Pettis in the first round. He was able to take down Reese McKee 3 times. I feel like if he uses it here, you know, exploit the, 36% takedown defense of Mickey Gall, kind of implement like the Diego Sanchez game plan he did, I feel like, you know, Alex Morono is going to make this look easy. But even like on the feet, I do favor Morono there as well. Although Mickey Gall's striking has looked improved, he hurt Jordan Williams multiple times. I do like the output of Morono, landing 5.14 significant strikes per minute. Very active striker. You know, a lot better striking defense than, say, like a Jordan Williams. I think, you know, Morono has Mickey Gall covered pretty much everywhere. And then last thing I'll mention is Mickey Gall has an 86% finish rate, and 86% of those wins are by submission. So I don't see him submitting Alex Morono. I guess it would have to be like a club and sub situation, but Alex Morono, again, he's like a secondary black belt in BJJ. He's never been submitted in 27 fights, so it's really hard to see Mickey Gall submitting Alex Morono, and that's typically how he wins. So I like Alex Morono here quite a bit. You know, I think the price tag is decent, -210. That's not terrible. Maybe the line closes a little bit. I see a lot of people on Gall, but yeah, give me Alex Morono here to win. Give me Alex Morono to win a pretty convincing decision. If he wrestles, he'll make it look easy. If he strikes with him, which maybe he will, I think he still does get it done. But give me Alex Morono by decision there. All right, we have Azamat Murzakana going against Jared Vanderaa. We have Murzakana is 35 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach, 10-0, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Jared Vanderaa, 29 years old, 6'4", 80-inch reach, 12-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. I do want to bring up the odds here, then we'll get into it. So Murzakana opened up -350 for some reason, and he's now -172. And then Vanderaa opened up plus 285, and he's now plus 147. So lots of line movement on this one. The line is closing rapidly, and I kind of see why. So, going back to the tail of the tape here, Vanderaa is going to have a massive tail of the tape advantage. He's going to be 6 years younger. He's going to have a 6-inch height advantage. He's going to have a 9-inch reach advantage. And Murzakana was supposed to fight Philippe Lins at light heavyweight, and now he's going to fight Jared Vanderaa at heavyweight here. And this is going to be Murzakana's very first fight at heavyweight. So I'm curious to see, how these guys size up. I'm assuming, Vanderaa is going to look a whole weight class bigger than Murzakana, and that's because he probably is. And Murzakana is somebody that's kind of small for 205. I mean, he's 5'10". But yeah, we'll see what they look like on the scales. We'll see what they look like sized up against each other. But I'm expecting Vanderaa to look much, much bigger. So yeah, I mean, you take a look at Jared Vanderaa. He's not great. He's not great at all. I mean, he had a decent performance against Justin Tafa, but he's had bad performances as well. But against good guys like Alexander Romanov was able to take him down several times. Sergey Spivak was able to take him down several times, and I mean, there's no shame in that. Alexander Romanov, we know how good he is. He's 6'2", 262. And then we see that Sergey Spivak, he's 6'3", 260. So these are big guys. And I'm wondering if, Murzakana, a light heavyweight, 5'10", is going to be able to, take down Jared Vanderaa, like Romanov did, like Sergey Spivak did. And I'm not so sure he can. Because there's going to be a huge discrepancy in size and in weight. I mean, Jared Vanderaa is somebody that I believe he cuts down to 265. This guy is huge for heavyweight, 6'4", 80-inch reach. And so in terms of the striking, yeah, I favor Azamat there for sure. I like what I see from Azamat. A little low volume, but this guy hits like a truck. But yeah, 9-inch reach is advantage. I'm curious to see how he works with that. This is a close fight. There's a lot of hype on Murzakana. Went out there on the Contender Series, got a knockout. There's absolutely no hype on Jared Vanderaa. A lot of people think this guy sucks, and maybe he does. But I mean, his losses, Romanov and Sergey Spivak. There's no shame in that. Yeah, I'm gonna take Vanderaa here. I think you see that Murzakana, he's never been to a third round. I went back and watched some of his fights, and he's had two round fights. He won both of those by decision. I went back and watched the one, and his coaches were like shaking out his arms between rounds 1 and rounds 2. He looked very, very tired, but he was able to go out there in the second round and get a takedown and seal the win. But, is he going to be able to take down Jared Vanderaa like when he's really gassed out? Because I really have question marks about Murzakana's gas tank. I have question marks about the volume. And two things that Jared Vanderaa does well, and he doesn't do a lot of things well, is one, he has phenomenal volume for a heavyweight, landing 4.5 significant strikes per minute. And that's including Romanov taking him down 5 times and Spivak taking him down 3 times. He outlanded Justin Tafa 121-74. And then the other thing that Jared Vanderaa does really well is he has great cardio for a heavyweight. He's going to have the cardio advantage in here. In this fight as well. And then the other thing is he's very durable. I know he got TKO'd in his last fight against Romanov. I know he got TKO'd against Sergey Spivak, but, he's never been knocked out standing. So I think if Murzakana is going to win, maybe he knocks him out in the first round. But, Romanov was not able to finish Vanderaa in the first round, and Spivak was not able to. So I kind of think Murzakana is potentially round 1 or bust. And like I said, he very well could finish him here in round 1. But what's he going to look like in round 2 against a much bigger guy? So I'm going to take Jared Vanderaa here. I wasn't really expecting the line to close like this because there is a lot of hype on Murzakana for some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, Vanderaa is now plus 147. And money's coming in on that as well. So interesting. Curious to see where the line does land by fight time. But I'm expecting it to maybe potentially keep closing, especially after people see the weigh-in. So give me Vanderaa, though, as a dog. And give me Vanderaa to win actually by decision. I think he wins the second 2 rounds after losing the first. Great fight. All right, next we have Claudio Poilos going against Chris Gruetzemacher. Puelles, he is 25 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 10-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Chris Gruetzemacher, 35 years old, 5'8", 68-inch reach, 15-4, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So tail of the tape. It's going to be a big advantage for Puelles. He is 25 years old, going to be 10 years younger. He's going to have a 3-inch height advantage, and he's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage as well. we'll take a look at the odds here, and there's been some line movement. Gritsmacher opened up as a plus 130 underdog. He went all the way to a favorite. He was a favorite about till earlier today, and he's now minus 110. And then Claudio Poilos opened up minus 150, went all the way to a dog, and he's now minus 110. So this is a straight pick'em. I kind of expected the line to move more in Poilos' favor throughout the week, and maybe it does. But yeah, I think it's a solid spot for him here. So Poilos is somebody that he's very young in the game. He's 25 years old. This is a guy that made his debut in 2016. So he was very, very young at the time. He was like around 20 years old at the time. He gets, beat up bad by Martin Brava, gets knocked out. Then he takes a couple years off. He comes back against Felipe Silva. He gets beat up for 2.5 rounds and gets a submission win. One of the best comeback wins you'll ever see. This guy gets destroyed for 2.5 rounds and then gets a submission win there. And then he takes another year off, and then he comes back against Marcus Mariano, gets 4 takedowns, controls pretty much every single second of that fight. And then he takes 2 more years off and then beats Jordan Levitt, a guy that for some reason people were very high on. And Jordan Levitt is a really good grappler. He was able to kind of take him down and just stay safe on top and win a decision. He's he's training at Sanford MMA. He's training with some of the best guys in the world. He's 25 years old. We're seeing like rapid improvements each and every time we see this guy. And I'm really curious to see what he looks like here against Chris Gritsmacher, because this is a very interesting test. I mean, Chris Gritsmacher, he is a veteran of the game. I believe he is 3-3 in the UFC. You take a look at it. He made his debut in the UFC back in 2015. He gets taken down 2 times in that fight. He gets taken down twice by Chaz Skelly, submitted. He gets taken down 5 times by Davi Ramos, submitted. He gets taken down in his last fight 5 times by Rafa Garcia and wins that fight. But it was a very close fight. This is a very close fight here. You have a striker in Gritsmacher versus a grappler in Poilos, who Poilos is going to have, like I said, the height advantage, the reach advantage. He's going to be 10 years younger, and he's training at a better camp. It says on there on Tapology, I'm looking at it right now, that Gritsmacher is training at American Top Team, and I don't think that's true. I went and stalked his Instagram a little bit, and he's training in like a garage in like North Carolina. He's training in his driveway. So I don't think he's at American Top Team, at least for this camp. Not sure what he did for the Garcia fight, but yeah, he's been in North Carolina, so he's definitely not at American Top Team there. Poilos is training with killers, where we have Gritsmacher training in his garage. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I'm going to take Poilos here to win. Gritsmacher, 61% takedown defense, has been taken down several times, and this guy gets taken down easy. I mean, you go back and watch some of his fights. Rafa Garcia took him down easy. Ramos took him down easy. Skelly easy. Like, he gets like barely no resistance to getting taken down. His get-up game is okay. It looked good in the Garcia fight, but Poilos is his control time, his control game is very good. He's a black belt in BJJ. That's what he does. He's a grappler. So give me Poilos to win. Give me Poilos to win. I'm gonna say by submission. Chris Gritsmacher has been finished in every single one of his losses, and 3 of those do come by submission. So give me Poilos to win, and give me Poilos to win by sub. Going with technically another dog, but I think this line's gonna flip. All right, Alonzo Menifield going against William Knight. We have Menifield, 34 years old, 6 foot, with a 76-inch reach, 11-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. William Knight, 33 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach, 10-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. These guys were supposed to fight, I think, like 2 times prior to this, but never happened. But it is happening now. We see that Alonzo Menifield opened at minus 135. He's now minus 163. William Knight opened up plus 115. He's now plus 143. So I remember the line being a lot closer last time, but since were supposed to fight, I think they've had like 2 different fights. I think Knight went out there and beat Charant, and then he lost that decision to Da Un Jung. So I think his stock went down a little bit, whereas Menifield's stock, I think, went up, submitting Fabio Charant and then also winning a decision against Ed Herman. I know what you guys are saying. It's Ed Herman, but he was able to go out there for 3 rounds, and his cardio looked better. So that's good there. As far as this fight goes, there are some stats I want to bring up here. The most important stat being is the striking defense of William Knight. It is 34%. That's not good. That's not good, especially against a guy like Alonzo Menifield, who hits like an absolute truck. William Knight is going to need to get this fight down to the mat. If he does not, he's going to be in some serious trouble. Alonzo Menifield, though, his takedown defense is phenomenal. 85% takedown defense for Alonzo Menifield. Was able to stuff 9 out of 10 takedowns from a solid wrestler in Devin Clark. And if William Knight is not able to take him down, which I don't think he does, I think there's a very good chance that Menifield knocks this guy out. With all that said, though, I don't know if I can trust Alonzo Menifield just yet. Yes, he was able to go 3 rounds with Ed Herman, but that was a kind of a slowish paced fight. It was kind of a fight where, Menifield was able to, be comfortable going 3 rounds at his own pace. Whereas I think if William Knight goes out there and kind of does what Devin Clark did, maybe grind up Menifield against the cage, get him tired, try to take him down here or there, make Menifield work. What is Menifield's cardio going to look like rounds 2 and rounds 3 if that does happen, if William Knight does make this a very grinding fight? I just can't trust Menifield. He looked horrible against OSP. He looked off that night. He didn't throw anything. He tried to change up his game plan a little bit, threw like nothing in the first round, and then he started trying to fight, and finally in the second round gets knocked out. But then he bounces back with 2 good wins. So I think I want to say that Menifield is improving, but I don't know if I want to look into that Ed Herman fight too much. This is the fight that I'm going to stay away from. But I'm going to say Menifield knocks him out in the first round. But if he does not knock out Knight in the first round, I feel like it could get a little sketchy. But I do see this fight finishing one way or another. Both guys with a 90% finish rate. Menifield has a decision win, and then also William Knight has a decision win as well. But other than that, it's all finishes from them. So I'm going to take Menifield to win. Menifield by first round knockout, but I don't know if I want to get too invested with it. All right, speaking of not getting invested, we have Mallory Martin going against Cheyenne Vlismas. We have Cheyenne Vlismas, who used to be Cheyenne Bays. I'm not sure what happened, but it is Vlismas as of now. She's 26 years old, 5'3" with a 63-inch reach, 6-2, and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Mallory Martin, 27 years old, 5'4", 64-inch reach, 7-4, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here. And Cheyenne Vlismas opened up -220. She is now -185. And then Mallory Martin opened up +185. She's now +160. And I would not recommend laying chalk on Cheyenne Bays here, but I do think she does win this fight. Cheyenne Bays, she's going to have the striking advantage here. Her striking's solid, lots of volume. She's aggressive. I like what I see from her on the feet. The only problem was that Montserrat Ruiz fight where Ruiz was able to take her down 4 times and control her for about 10 minutes of that fight. I don't know if Mallory Martin is going to be able to do what Ruiz did in that fight. Martin, she's solid wrestler, brown belt in BJJ, but I do have some serious concerns about her striking. Hannah Cyphers went out there and basically 10-8'd Mallory Martin in that first round, and then Hannah Cyphers gassed out a little bit. Martin's able to finish her in the second, so it showed a lot of toughness, but getting dropped by Hannah Cyphers is not a good look to me. It's a close fight, a fight that I'm not, too excited about. I feel like if Martin's able to get Cheyenne Vlismas down, she possibly has some success. Martin is a solid grappler. I know she's been submitted in 2 of her 3 UFC fights, but those were against Verna Jandaroba, one of the best grapplers in the division, and then also Pauliana Viana, who believes a black belt as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Cheyenne Vlismas here. From what I've seen outside of the Ruiz fight, her takedown defense is really good, and if she is able to keep it on the feet, I do think she pieces apart Martin. But, yeah, like I said, if Martin's able to get this fight down to the mat, it's going to be very close. So, yeah, I think the line's probably off here, but I'll go with Vlismas to win. I'll go with Vlismas to win by decision. All right, next we have Zhalgas Zhumagulov going against Manel Kopp. We have Kopp, who is 20 years old, 5'5", with a 68-inch reach, 16-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Zhalgas Zhumagulov, 33 years old, 5'4", with a 66-inch reach, 14-5, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So, yeah, this is a fight where I feel like Kopp is the much better fighter, and we do see that the line is heavily in favor of Kopp, and it just keeps getting wider and wider. Kopp opened up -260. He went all the way down to -200, and now he's -250 and getting wider. Like I said, Zhalgas Zhumagulov opened up +220, went all the way down to +170, and he's now back to +210. So yeah, I think Kopp's the better fighter everywhere. I mean, Kopp, his striking's better. Kopp's a better wrestler. He's a brown belt in BJJ, probably the better grappler. He's much more well-rounded than Zhalgas. I just think he's a lot more skilled than him as well. The problem I have with Kopp is, and this is the only problem, the dude does not let his hands go. Like, if he would just, throw more volume, he has all this great movement, and that's all fantastic. But just if he lets his hands go, this guy can be a serious problem. Had a very close fight against Alexander Pantoja in a fight where he did nothing. I had a bet on Pantoja in that fight, and Kopp did nothing. He was able to take down Pantoja twice, but still threw only 49 strikes in a 3-round fight. And then as far as his next fight against Mateus Nicolau, I had a bet on Nicolau in that fight. I actually thought Kopp won that fight. He did a little bit better with the volume, but still, he lost that fight due to him not throwing a ton of volume. And then he goes out there and knocks out Ode Osborne, which was good. His volume looked a little bit better, but if he comes out here and throws some more volume, I think it's such a winnable fight for him. The problem with Kopp, though, is that volume. But he's a finisher. 94% finish rate for Kopp. When he does win, it is inside the distance. He's only won one fight by decision in 15 fights. And I will say that he finishes Zhalgas here. But if he does not finish Zhalgas Zhumagulov, I feel like this line is going to look off. I feel like it's going to be very close because Zhalgas is no bum. He's no scrub. I mean, Zhalgas, he's well-rounded in his own right. Solid wrestling himself. The striking's okay. He's kind of low volume himself, but I think it's a good fight for Manel Kopp. But it's frustrating watching him at times because I think he's so talented, but I just think he needs a little more volume. If he brings some volume to this fight, I think he has a really good chance of winning it. But I want to say he does knock out Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Zhalgas has been knocked out before in his career. Give me Manel Kopp to win by knockout here. And I think it's a solid spot for him. So we'll see what he does, but I think he gets it done. Jake Matthews going against Jeremiah Wells. We have Jake Matthews. He is 27 years old, 5'11" with a 72-inch reach, 17-5 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Jeremiah Wells, 35 years old, 5'9" with a 75-inch reach, 9-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So Matthews is going to be 8 years younger. Matthews is going to have a 2-inch height advantage, but he's going to have a 3-inch reach disadvantage. We'll take a look at the odds here. We see that Jake Matthews opened at -150. He is now -172. Jeremiah Wells opened at +130. He is now +147. So some things I do want to mention are, Jeremiah Wells, he is training out of Renzo Gracie, Philly. He is training with guys like Sean Brady, guys like Pat Sabatini, guys who a lot of people are very high on, and rightfully so, including me. So he's training with some absolute studs there. And he went out in his debut and got the upset win. He's a pretty big dog against Warlley Alves, and he went out there. It wasn't like a flukish win where he was losing the whole time and he got a finish. He was winning that fight from really start to finish. I mean, Warlley Alves had some success at moments, but Wells was able to go out there right away. He was very aggressive, was able to get Alves down to the mat. He was able to control Alves for 3 minutes in that first round, and then he wins the first round. And then the second round comes around, and he knocks out Warlley Alves. Like, that's a good win. That's a very good win, especially in your UFC debut. Now he's going against Jake Matthews, who is a young guy, kind of a guy that is inconsistent at times. He's lost against Sean Brady, which is interesting, right? Because Sean Brady and Jeremiah Wells, they train together. So I think that's going to definitely favor Jeremiah Wells here. But prior to that, he didn't finish. He should have finished Diego Sanchez, but he did not. He wins by decision against Diego Sanchez. He wins by decision against Emil Meek, and then he wins by decision against Rostam Akman. Just not impressed with those performances. A lot of these performances, a lot of these guys he's beat, I'm just not impressed with it. Like, these guys, I'm looking through his record, and I see maybe one guy that is still in the UFC, and that would be the Leech. But outside of that, Akman, I don't believe he's in the UFC. Meek, I don't think so. Diego Sanchez, no. Johnny Case, no. I don't think any of these guys that he's beat are in the UFC outside of the Leech. It's a good fight, though. I think it's a very well-matched fight. Both these guys are very similar. Both guys are, solid wrestlers. Both guys are black belts in BJJ. On the feet, I think it's very close. Jake Matthews is going to be the more technical striker. but Jeremiah Wells is going to, have more power. This guy hits very, very hard. He's not technical at all. I think he needs to work a lot on his striking, but maybe he doesn't need to, because he goes in there, he's wild, he blitzes forward with like a 5-punch combo, and when he lands, he hurts guys. So yes, Jake Matthews probably the more technical striker, but I think Wells is going to be landing the much harder shots, and I'm curious to see who gets the better of the grappling exchanges, because I went back and watched every single fight I could of Wells. I've never seen him taken down. When he has ended up on bottom, he was able to reverse his opponent pretty easily. It's just a very strong guy. Like his wrestling's very solid. His takedown defense is very solid. He's just a very, very strong guy. And usually with like these jacked up guys like a Wells, they have cardio problems. But no, Wells actually has very good cardio. I'll actually give Wells the cardio advantage in this fight. I've seen him go 5 rounds, really no problem. So yeah, it's a close fight. You have the experience of Jake Matthews. You have the youth of Jake Matthews. The level of competition of Jake Matthews, but you have the explosiveness of Jeremiah Wells. He's a black belt in BJJ, training with guys like Sean Brady. Renzo Gracie Philly has been on fire. It's a close fight, and the line really does not make much sense to me. I'm going to go with the dog here in Jeremiah Wells. I'm going to take him to win by decision. I think it's going to be a very close, competitive fight. I think if there is a finish, it will be Wells, but I'll say Wells does win a decision. I think if he can get on top of Matthews, I think Wells' control is pretty solid, and we have seen Matthews taken down and stuck on his back at times, most recently against Sean Brady, who is, again, Wells' teammate. So give me Jeremiah Wells, pick another dog here, picking quite a few dogs on this card, and Wells is somebody else that I'm going to be going with there, and I'll take him to win by decision. All right, next we have Maki Batolo going against Dusko Todorovic. We have Dusko is 27 years old, 6'1", with a 74-inch reach, 10-2, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Maki Batolo, 31 years old, 5'10", with a 73.5-inch reach, 13-8, and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and we see that Dusko opened up minus 235 for some reason. He's now minus 150. And then Maki Batolo opened up plus 200. He's now plus 130. And I feel like this fight should just be like a straight pick 'em. I feel like neither guy really deserves to be favored. Two guys that just frustrate me so much. Maki Batolo, this is a guy that I had kind of high hopes for. Made his debut against Colin Potter. Everybody thought he was going to go out here and starch Colin Potter. That was not the case. He slowed down as the fight went on. Colin Potter was able to take him down 3 times and control him. He does bounce back with a win against Charles Byrd, and now he's on a 3-fight skid against Darren Stewart, gets submitted. Losing to Darren Stewart's not the worst thing in the world, but getting submitted by Darren Stewart, that's kind of concerning, considering that was Darren Stewart's first ever submission in his entire career. And then he loses to Impica Saganai, no shame in that. And then he loses to Julian Marquez, and I'll say no shame in that because he went out there and he looked good. He looked really good. He went out there, arguably 10-8'd. Marquez in that first round. He took him down in that first round, controlled him for basically the whole round there. And then the second round comes around, kind of the same thing, takes him down 3 times, controls him for the majority of that round. And then the third round comes along, and he is gassed, he's tired, and then Marquez ends up, getting a submission. Marquez needed a finish to win that fight, and he got it. I want to say with I think it was the last minute of the fight. It was, there was about 43 seconds left of that fight. And Marquez got it done. But I thought Maki Batolo came into that fight, and I thought he was fighting for his job, because he kind of was. I thought it looked like he was fighting for his job. He didn't go out there, and he didn't try to stand and bang like he does in a lot of these fights. He went out there with a game plan, and he fought very smart. I really liked what I saw from him in that fight. So if he comes in here with that game plan, if he comes in here fighting for his job, I feel like this is a very winnable fight against Dusko, who, I was never sold on this guy, but this guy had a ton of hype on him. I mean, he beat Michel Pereira on the regional scene. He won on the Contender Series as well. A lot of people had high hopes for this guy. Won against Daquan Townsend by knockout. Just so much hype on this guy, but all that hype has completely disappeared. And rightfully so. Against Punahele Soriano, he gets knocked out 4 times. I know officially it says he got knocked down twice. I think it was more 4. It just showed you, he finally got exposed. I've been saying it from the start. Dusko's striking defense is the worst striking defense I've ever seen in my life. On paper, it is 48%, but you go back and watch the Soriano fight. He's fighting completely with his hands down relying 100% on head movement. He has good head movement, but it's not going to work at this level. And we saw that in the Soriano fight where his hands were down, he got dropped bad, and then he gets up and his hands are even lower, and then Soriano just drops him again, and then the fight's over. And then against Rodriguez, it did not look like Dusko in there. He looked very hesitant. He didn't throw anything. This was a guy in Dusko who is typically very high volume, and you can count on that high volume. He only landed 37 significant strikes. He threw 120, but he had like a 30% significant strike accuracy. So I thought he looked awful in that Rodriguez fight. I thought he looked awful in the Soriano fight. He beat Taquan Townsend. That's good, right? No. And then against Teddy Ash, like I wasn't impressed with him in that performance as well. But with all that said, like how can you trust Maki Pitolo to get the job done? And you really can't. You can never trust anybody that loses to Callan Potter. But this is a close fight. Like I said, I think it should be a pick'em. On the feet, like I think Dusko's a better striker, but my goodness, when you have that bad of striking defense, what does it matter? If you're not going to have your hands up, Maki can hurt you. Maki, they call him coconut bombs for a reason. This guy hits hard. And then also, Dusko has a very bad 50% takedown defense. We saw Rodriguez take him down 3 times. So I think if Maki comes in here with the game plan of taking down Dusko, mixing in those takedowns, and on the feet, it's going to be very, very close. Very close, especially if Dusko comes in here and looks like he did against Gregory, not throwing anything. This is a very easy fight for Maki, but you can't trust either of these guys. I'm going to take the dog and Maki Pitolo to win. I'm going to take him to win by, I'll say decision, but a knockout would not shock me. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Dusko is young. He could be improving, but I've never been sold on the guy, and especially now. But I'll take Maki Pitolo to win. I'll take him to win by decision. All right, next we'll go to Brendan Allen going against Chris Curtis. We have Brendan Allen, 25 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach, 17-4, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Chris Curtis, 34 years old, 5'10", with a 75-inch reach, 27-8, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. So Chris Curtis typically fights at 170, but he also has some fights on his record at 185, so this is not really a big deal. But his normal weight class is 170, but he went out there and finished Phil Hawes at 185. He's going to stick there. Brendan Allen's going to have he's going to be 9 years younger than Chris Curtis. Brendan Allen's going to have a 4-inch height advantage, and then the reach is going to be the same there. So Brendan Allen's going to be the much, much bigger fighter, as he is the natural middleweight there. So I do want to get into the odds here. Brendan Allen is the biggest favorite on the entire card, and by a significant margin. Brendan Allen opened up minus 300. He is now minus 350, and then Chris Curtis opened up plus 250, and he's now plus 285, which is kind of interesting. I thought more people would be on Curtis, but that does not seem to be the case. The line keeps getting wider and wider for Brendan Allen. This is a fight where it kind of reminds me of the Alex Morono fight, where if Alex Morono wrestles, he's going to look like a minus 400 favorite or more. If Brendan Allen gets his fight down to the mat, he's going to look minus 400 or more. Brendan Allen is so good on the mat. He's a black belt in BJJ. We go back and look at some of his fights. He made his UFC debut against Kevin Holland, and this was back in 2019. And he goes out there and submits Kevin Holland, which, as we know, that is not easy to do. Kevin Holland is a black belt. Guys like Darren Brunson was not able to submit him. Guys like Marvin Vettori was not able to submit him. But Brendan Allen submits him. Then he goes out there and finishes Tom Breeze on the mat. Very good win there. Then he beats Kyle Dawkins. And then the only kind of hiccup in his record in the UFC, at least, is the Sean Strickland fight, where kind of relied on his striking a little bit too much, gets knocked out. But other than that, he's been looking great. Carl Roberson takes him down twice, submits him. And then the Punahele Soriano fight. This is what really opened my eyes about Brendan Allen, because I had a lot of question marks about his striking defense, his striking in general. But he has been training at Sanford MMA, I think, for like the past 3 fights. I think this is going to be the 4th one where he's been at Sanford. We're just seeing like improvements, like leaps and bounds in terms of the striking of Brendan Allen. He went out there, outstruck Punahele Soriano, and I was on Punahele in that fight, and I thought, if Brendan Allen is not able to get Soriano down, I think he's going to be in trouble, and that was not the case. It was Soriano that was in trouble in that fight. Brendan Allen was able to outstrike him in every single round, just about. So, yeah, the striking's definitely coming along, and he's only like 25 years old. Like, this guy has a huge ceiling. 25 years old, training at a great camp. We already know he's phenomenal on the mat. This guy's a wizard on the mat, black belt, and now his striking is improving. This is definitely somebody to look out for. But we have Chris Curtis as somebody who probably should have been in the UFC. He had a win on the Contender Series against Sean Lawley back in 2018. A beautiful knockout. I'm not sure why or how Dana White did not sign him. Makes no sense to me. Probably one of the best knockouts I've ever seen on the Contender Series. It doesn't get signed, which is weird. So yeah, he probably should have been in the UFC. And then he comes out against Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes is a huge favorite. I want to say Phil Hawes is just about the odds of Brendan Allen, was like around minus 350. And then Phil Hawes, I thought, hey, Phil Hawes, if you take this guy down, I think you're going to make it look pretty easy here. If you strike with him, hey, you could have some problems. So Phil Hawes was teeing off on this guy, making it look easy. Curtis did not have an answer to what Phil Hawes was doing, just outstriking him so easily. I was like, yeah, why aren't you taking him down? And then like a couple minutes later, Curtis catches Phil Hawes. So he gets a nice win there. But I don't know how I feel about the performance, because he was getting lit up badly. And then all of a sudden finds a knockout against Phil Hawes, who is definitely on the chinny side. Phil Hawes has been hurt in every single fight. I think it's a great fight for Brendan Allen. I really do. I really think it's a great fight for Brendan Allen. If he uses his ground game, he's going to look like a massive favorite. I have seen Curtis taken down several times. His takedown defense is not great, and I have seen him. He's been submitted before. Back in 2011, he's been knocked out before. He's been finished before. I think if Brendan Allen takes him down, I think he does finish him. But if Brendan Allen decides, I'm going to test my striking out, and maybe he does, I still think he wins. I really like the volume of Brendan Allen. I like the striking improvements. But not taking down Chris Curtis is going to give Chris Curtis a path to victory, and that would potentially be a knockout. But yeah, I think it's a solid spot for Brendan Allen. I'm going to take Brendan Allen to win. I'm going to take him to win by submission. But I'm just hoping he comes out here and fights to his strength, get this fight down to the mat. If he does that, I think he wins, because Phil Hawes did not do that, and look what happened to him. So hopefully he does learn from that Phil Hawes performance and takes down Chris Curtis. If he does that, I think he makes it look pretty easy here. So give me Brendan Allen to win. Give me Brendan Allen by submission. All right, moving on. Jimmy Crute going against Jamal Hill. We have Crute, 25 years old, 6'2", with a 74-inch reach, 12-2, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Jamal Hill, 30 years old, 6'4", with a 79-inch reach, 8-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So 2 prospects here, 2 guys that a lot of people were really high on. I think they still should be. Kind of some bumps in the road there for both of them in their last performance. But we see that Jimmy Crute opened up minus 220. Jamal Hill opened up plus 185. He's now plus 165. And we see Crute is currently minus 190. So yeah, I mean, this is a fight where, you take a look at Jamal Hill, and he is somebody that I was never really sold on ever. But a lot of people had high hopes for this guy. A lot of people were really high on him. People were talking about him, beating Sherry Prochaska, talking about him, beating guys like Glover Teixeira, Jan Blachowicz. And, I was not one of those guys, but I against Paul Craig, there was a lot of things I did not like hearing from Jamal Hill. Looking at his interviews, he was talking about how his ground game is better than Paul Craig's. He was talking about he'll win the fight anywhere the fight goes, and I did not like when I heard that. And obviously, Paul Craig submits him, technically knocks him out, but just almost breaks his arm. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks I have about Jamal Hill still. He makes his UFC debut against Darko Stosic, and I went back and watched that fight, and Darko Stosic takes this guy down 6 times, and it's not the fact that he takes him down, it's just how easy it looked. Like, it looked extremely easy. And then after that, he fights Klidson Abreu, who's a black belt in BJJ. I thought, hey, maybe you should try to take him down, take down Jamal Hill, who has a terrible takedown defense, and Klidson Abreu shoots 0 takedowns. Then he fights OSP, veteran of the sport. I thought, hey, OSP has a good ground game. Maybe OSP tries to get down Jamal Hill, right? No, OSP attempts 0 takedowns and gets finished. And then Paul Craig comes along, and Paul Craig pulls guard and then finishes Jamal Hill. And there's been people saying, like, Jamal Hill's improved his takedown defense, and there's no evidence of that at all. The last time we've seen somebody try to take down Jamal Hill, they made it look easy, and that was only a year ago. Jimmy Crute is going to try to take down Jamal Hill. I can almost guarantee it, I guess. He did something really not smart in his last fight against Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith is somebody that has a 50% takedown defense, less than a 50% takedown defense. And Jimmy Crute went out there and struck with Anthony Smith for some reason. He gets hurt. He hurts his leg bad. And as soon as he hurts his leg, as soon as he can barely walk, he shoots 3 takedowns, gets all 3 of them in the span of 57 seconds. That just shows you how good of a wrestler this guy is. And his grappling is next level. This guy's a black belt in BJJ. This is a guy that submitted Paul Craig. Nobody submits Paul Craig. And this guy did it. So it just shows you how elite Jimmy Crute is on the mat. It's just kind of weird that he did not shoot takedowns against Anthony Smith up until he got hurt. Yeah, I mean, if Jimmy Crute comes out here, fights smart, gets his fight down to the mat, I think he submits Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill got submitted in his last fight against Paul Craig. No shame in that. Jamal Hill is a blue belt in BJJ, but I just think Crute is on another level on the mat. And even on the feet, if Crute for some reason decides, I'm not going to take down Jamal Hill, I'm going to test my striking, I think he'll still lose that fight, but I think it'll be a lot closer than people think. Crute's striking is decent, and Jamal Hill's striking defense is very suspect. A 45% striking defense. This is a guy that kind of has that tall man's defense, leaves his chin up in the air. He was getting tagged up at times against Darko Stosic. So, but yeah, I think Jimmy Crute, take this guy down, submit him. I think it's a very good matchup for him if he does fight smart, and I think he will. So give me Jimmy Crute to win. Give me Jimmy Crute to win by submission. All right. Next, we have Clay Guida going against Leonardo Santos. We have Santos, who is 41 years old, 6 foot, with a 75-inch reach, 18-4-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Clay Guida, he's 39 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 36-21, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So, yeah, Guida's going to be 2 years younger. When is Guida's birthday? Guida's birthday looks like he's turning 40, like in the next week. So yeah, he's gonna be 40 pretty soon here. But regardless, Santos is going to have a massive 5-inch height advantage, and he's going to have a massive 5-inch reach advantage as well. Santos is somebody that has 23 fights on his record, and we see that Guida has 57. So in terms of fight years, Guida is definitely up there for sure. Santos is somebody that throughout his career, he's not been all that active at all. Yeah, we'll take a look at the odds here on this one. We see that Santos is a decent-sized favorite, opening up -260. He's currently -185. Clay Guida opening up +220. He's now +160. I kind of agree with the opener more of the Santos -260. I mean, he's going to have a height advantage, a reach advantage. He's going to have a striking advantage. I mean, we're not going to ignore the fact that Clay Guida got outstruck in every single round, in terms of the numbers, and every single round against Mark Madsen. That is not good. Santos actually has very good striking. Madsen outlands Guida 32-15. Madsen in the first round, Madsen outlands Guida 31-26 in the second round, and then Madsen outlands Guida 35-31 in the third round. I know a lot of people thought that Guida won that fight. It was a very close fight. But still, Mark Madsen shot only 1 takedown, got none of them, and it probably shouldn't have been that close. I mean, Mark Madsen's a wrestler, right? But yeah, Santos is going to have a massive striking advantage here, and if this fight hits the mat in any type of way, Guida's going to be in some serious trouble. Clay Guida is somebody that has been submitted 10 times. Guida's been finished 12 times in his career, 10 of them by submission, and Santos is a legit BJJ black belt with a ton of power on the feet. I really like what I see from Santos. I like this guy a lot. The only problem is the cardio is horrendous. He has about a round and a half of cardio, maybe 2 rounds. So if he does not finish this fight in the first 2 rounds, I can assure you that Guida is probably going to win that third. But yeah, I'm going to say Santos does finish Guida. I'm going to say he does finish him early, whether he, like a club and sub, hurts Guida, Guida shoots in, gets submitted. Or just knocks him out in general, or just if he can take it down Guida, submit him. I just think his ground game's on another level than Guida. So yeah, give me Santos to win. I want to say I'm pretty confident in it, but the dude's 41 and he has no cardio, so that definitely is scary. But stylistically, I think it's a very good spot for him. Give me Santos to win by, I'll say, like a first-round submission. All right, co-main event time. We have Rafael Fiziev going against Brad Riddell. And yeah, this should be a good fight. Definitely should be a good fight. Definitely worthy of being the co-main event. We have Fiziev, who's 28 years old, 5'8", with a 71.5-inch reach, 10-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Brad Riddell, 30 years old, 5'7", with a 75.5-inch reach, 10-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. So the tail of the tape is very even. It's very even, and you'll see a lot of this fight is very even. And I think it should be a pick'em, and that's not really the case. Fiziev opened up plus 110, he's now minus 122. Brad Riddell opened up minus 130, he's now plus 102. I think the line should just be a straight pick'em. I don't really have a great read on this fight, but I say we get into some numbers. Fiziev, very high volume guy, lands 5.34 significant strikes per minute with a 52% accuracy, absorbing 5.76. A lot of that because of the Bobby Green fight. He has a negative 0.42 significant strike differential and a 50% striking defense. As far as Brad Riddell, high volume in his own right, landing 4.75 significant strikes per minute with a 53% accuracy, absorbing 3.18 significant strikes per minute, a positive 1.58 significant strike differential, and a 54% striking defense. So, yeah, I think the striking's very competitive. I think it's very even. But what I will say is, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, is Fiziev does slow down as the fight goes on. We've seen him slow down in multiple fights, especially the Bobby Green fight. Bobby Green was able to win the 3rd round pretty convincingly. He was also slowing down in the White fight. I think like 2 judges scored the 3rd round for White. I personally scored the 3rd round for White as well. And then he also slowed down a little bit in the DEC fight in that 3rd round. So he does slow down as the fight goes on. And I don't think Riddell is going to slow down here. So I think early on, it's going to be very, very competitive. But I just feel like as the fight goes on, Fiziev might slow down a little bit. Whereas Brad Riddell, I don't really see him slowing down. So I think that is an advantage for Brad Riddell. As far as the grappling stats go, if there's going to be a takedown shot in this fight, I think it's going to be Riddell. He does land 2 per 15 minutes. But the problem is Fiziev does have a 100% takedown defense. So although I think he might try to shoot them, I'm not sure if he's going to get them. So I do expect this fight to primarily play out on the feet, and at that point, again, it's going to be a very close fight. Bobby Green went out there, outstruck Fiziev 143-104. The numbers weren't even close. The reason Fiziev won was because he was landing the harder shots. But yeah, Bobby Green outlands him 32-25 in the first, 45-36 in the second, and then 66-43 in the 3rd round. Going back to some of his other fights, he outlands Alex White 66-55. He outlands DEC 78-68, and then he outlands Moicano and knocks him out 21-15. So a lot of his striking numbers, and then Magomed Mustafayev outlands him 10-1. But a lot of his striking numbers on paper are very, very close. But the reason he's winning these fights is because he's landing the much more, harder strikes, the much better looking strikes. And that could be the case here. I could see a case where Brad Riddell outlands him in terms of the numbers, but Fiziev is out there landing the much harder shots. But yeah, it's a close fight. It's a very close fight. I'm going to side with Brad Riddell here. I think he's going to have the volume advantage. I think he could potentially mix in takedowns here and there, but it's a close one. I'll take Brad Riddell slightly. So I guess another underdog here, but an underdog I'm not all that confident in. And now we have the main event. Be sure to check out me and Wheezy's main event deep dive. Went through there, talked about it with the chat, and then through it with a betting perspective there as well. So go check that out. It's on the channel already. And then also make sure you guys comment down the significant strikes for this fight as well. We'll see if anybody can get it right on the dot. Somebody got it last time. We'll see if it happened again. So we have Jose Aldo, Rob Font. Looking forward to the fight. Great main event. Phenomenal fight here. Rob Font is 34 years old, 5'8" with a 71.5-inch reach. He's 19-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Jose Aldo, he is 35 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 30-7 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So slight tail of the tape advantage to Rob Font. He's going to be 1 year younger. He's going to have a 1-inch height advantage and a 1.5-inch reach advantage as well. But in terms of fight years, he is a lot younger, where Rob Font has 23 fights on his record and Jose Aldo has 37. So I do want to get into some stats on this fight as well, but first we'll take a look at the odds. And these kind of surprised me a little bit, but we have Rob Font open at minus 115. He's now minus 135. Jose Aldo opened up plus or minus 105. He's now plus 115. And yeah, I think it should definitely be a closely lined fight here. We do take a look at the striking stats, though. Rob Font, very high volume. He lands 5.58 significant strikes per minute with a 43% accuracy, absorbing 3.57 with a positive 2.01 significant strike differential and a 61% striking defense. Phenomenal numbers there. He's outlanding on average his opponent by 2. Like that's phenomenal. That's absolutely phenomenal. Jose Aldo, on the other hand, he does land 3.63 significant strikes per minute with a 45% accuracy, absorbing 3.59 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.04 significant strike differential and a 61% striking defense. So yeah, Rob Font is definitely going to have more volume in this fight. He has a very good jab and uses it very well. He's very long, very rangy. But, Jose Aldo, mixes it up very well. Leg kicks, body kicks. Just a very good fighter. Both these guys are great strikers. I think the striking is going to be very competitive, but I do think Rob Font, probably is going to have the volume advantage here. As far as the grappling stats, this is what gets interesting here. So Jose Aldo lands half a takedown per 15 minutes, 56% accuracy, and has one of the best takedown defenses you'll ever see at 91%. Rob Font lands 1.2 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 40% accuracy and has a 53% takedown defense. I think that if Jose Aldo would go and take this guy down, I think it would be so easy. I went back and watched some Rob Font fights, and this guy gets taken down with not much resistance at all, 53% takedown defense. And Jose Aldo, he's not had a takedown in a while. The last time Jose Aldo has had a takedown was back in 2014 against Ricardo Lamas. 2014. So I'm not sure we can count on, Aldo to go out there and have a wrestling heavy game plan. If he did, I think he'd have success. And then the last thing I'll talk about, which is another big thing, is going to be the cardio. Rob Font went out there against Cody Garbrandt, went 5 rounds. He looked good, looked fresh all 5 rounds, high volume as well. Whereas Jose Aldo, we have seen him slow down in the past in some fights. We saw him slow down in fights like Petr Yan. We saw him slow down in the Max Holloway fights a bit as well. So yeah, we have seen Jose Aldo slow down before, and he's now 35 years old. Rob Font's not much younger, but I think Rob Font's going to have the cardio advantage. I think Rob Font's going to have the volume advantage, but this is such a close fight. I think the line should actually be closer, to be honest. We see Rob Font minus 135. You open up minus 115. I kind of feel like the opener was more correct there. Rob Font minus 115, Jose Aldo, minus 105. I feel like that's more accurate because this is a very close fight. I don't want to count out Jose Aldo. For the people that are saying, he's done, he's washed, I completely disagree because he's looked good. I mean, going out there beating Marlon Veira, winning the 3rd round against Marlon Veira, that is not something easy to do. And then he looked phenomenal against Pedro Munoz, a guy that's high volume in his own right. So yeah, I don't want to completely count out Jose Aldo. I think he definitely has a chance here, but I'm going to go with Rob Font to win. I think the volume is going to be key. I think the cardio is going to be key. And Jose Aldo doesn't wrestle. If Jose Aldo would wrestle, I think it'd be such an easy fight for him. So I'll take Rob Font. I'll take Rob Font by decision, but not too much confidence in that. And I will not be having a bet on this main event. If anything, it probably would be dog or pass for Jose Aldo at that plus money. So yeah, guys, we did it. Thank you all so much for watching. I think we went through like 14 fights. So yeah, we did it. If you guys can please leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. To be much appreciated as always. And then be sure to comment down your significant strikes between Jose Aldo and Rob Font. First place, $25. But if you get it right on the dot, I'll double the prize winnings to $50, which somebody did that last time I did the contest. So hopefully we can see if anybody gets it again. And yeah, check out the Patreon. December 1st is tomorrow. Yeah, on a Wednesday, so check that out. That'd be a great time to sign up. $10 a month. Great deal there. You get all access to my bets. I'm going to start unloading for $269. I already have a big bet there, and then I'm also looking at my next max bet for next week as well. And yeah, just a lot of great spots sticking out for next week. And then this week, I'm kind of keeping it light. 7 bets right now, all of them plus money. So yeah, going dog hunting this week, so it should be fun. But yeah, guys, that's about it. By the way, sorry about the haircut. I need a haircut bad. So no comments making fun of me. I know my hair looks awful, but I'm getting a haircut on Wednesday or Thursday. So yeah, guys, that's about it. Good luck. Let's make some money. See you guys Friday for the live stream, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll also see you Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims. Not sure when the prelims start, but me, Wheezy, Narco, and I'm going to have a special guest on there as well on Saturday, giving the best bet for each and every fight on the card. So that should be fun. Make sure you guys are subscribed, and also hit the notification bell as well. I think like 20% of people that are subscribed have hit the bell. Hit that bell, really does help me out as well. So yeah, check out that, and yeah, that's about it, guys. Good luck for UFC Vegas 44. Let us make some money, and let's finish the year on a very high note. See you guys.